Hello, thanks for tuning in. I'm Vered. I'm a psychotherapist, astrologer, and past life regressionist, and have been for about 18 years. I was originally trained in past life regression by Dolores Cannon herself in 2007, and I have been working as a past life regressionist and psychotherapist since. So I work in Sydney, and I offer my sessions in English, of course, and Spanish and French. I'd like to say that over the last few years, however, the sessions have changed quite dramatically. Years back, people would come literally for a past life regression to see what impact past lives are having on their current lives. However, I found that particularly in the last 2 years, the sessions really have changed in the sense that the issues that clients present with are quite different. Lately, more typical would be cases of clients feeling very detached from the people in their lives, from their relationships, their primary relationships, also their friendships, their work, just not feeling aligned anymore with whatever it is they're doing, even if they've studied 5 years, 7 years for it, just feeling that it's not who they are anymore. Also issues about wanting to know one's origin, where one is really from, as it were, and wanting to connect to a higher part of self as well, with a view to having more meaning in one's life. And I found that a lot of clients feel very, very alone, profoundly alone, even those that actually have family around them, a sense of not really feeling connected to those people anymore. So a kind of yearning for a higher understanding of why they're here. I do believe that QHHT, quantum healing hypnosis technique, can really help to recalibrate and to reconnect and to really heal this sense of aloneness and lack of direction from the point of view of understanding why and what the soul connection is, what the soul contract is. So how does the process work? Well, the process usually lasts between 3 and 4 hours. And the first hour is what we call a pre-talk, where I'm taking notes about the client's history and hearing what they have come to experience, what they're hoping to experience. And during this time, we elicit a few questions that we do put to the higher self or the oversoul, or the superconscious. Of course, there are many, many terms. There's a lot of terminology to try and describe this beautiful space that one enters when one's lying on the table. So after about an hour or an hour and a half sometimes, the client lies down very comfortably in the lovely clinic where I work. And also during that first hour or so, very often I find that spirit guides and loved ones and higher dimensional beings often like to come through and speak through me to give communication and messages for the client. Okay, so as I said, the client lies down very comfortably and enters through the induction a beautiful, deep, relaxed state where the conscious mind is still there. It is there, but in some way disengaged. This trance state, this is a state of theta. This is quite a beautiful biochemical state where dopamines are released. And during this time, we can access the voice, if you like, of the higher self, who speaks through the actual client. So often the client might refer to themselves in the third person. For example, he might think, or she believes that, etc. So paradoxically, it is you, but it comes from the multidimensional you, from the much higher eternal you. And we recognize this because there's a complete change in the vibration in the room when it comes through. And it speaks with tremendous wisdom. Very often the conscious mind disagrees with some of the things that are said. But the understanding, the vibration of it, the awesomeness of this energy is very, very convincing and very, very loving, extremely loving. And clients are very aware of that energy, as am I, witnessing. So a client might experience themselves in a traditional past life. In other words, they may experience themselves in a body, a male or a female body of any nationality on the earth plane, or they may experience themselves as something quite different. They may experience themselves as consciousness, as balls of light. They may even experience themselves as part of nature, as a consciousness of a tree, as a consciousness of a river. I've even had someone who experienced themselves as a consciousness of a star being born, which was a very, very moving experience, and a lot of tears may come. It does actually feel so beautiful to meet that higher dimensional and multidimensional self. Sometimes a client might experience themselves as, I don't really like the word extraterrestrial, but let's call it an off-planet being. And of course there are many, many forms that can take as well. So one really does have to come with a very open mind and a very open heart. Often during the session, this part of the session, healings can occur. I have to say, many beautiful miracles happen in my room where tumours have gone into remission. If the person has understood the soul lesson, then there was no need anymore for the tumours. There are other times where cancer does not go into remission quite yet. There are other times when the client will pass away from this because we get an understanding that the soul has chosen to do that. So anything that happens has to, of course, happen with respect and alignment with the soul contract, which the client can get an understanding of in the session. I also get a lot of people with health issues such as irritable bowel syndrome, clinical depression, chronic arthritis, and again, a QHHT session can really help with that very, very much. When one does experience oneself in a different body, be it an earth body or otherwise, I always make sure, where possible, that the client is taken to the death scene. Because if the client can be taken to the death scene, then they can have that wonderful experience of what it is to actually detach from the body and be in a state of consciousness with all that is. And this is very important because this gives such a perspective on the life that one has just lived, and indeed the life that one is living right now in the present. And I feel that I know that it can really help people lose their fear of death. This is one of the great benefits. So I could say so much more, but I think I might just leave it at that. And we're going to cut in a moment to an excerpt from an actual session that I did a few years ago that you might enjoy, and it'll give you a bit of an idea of how it all happens. So thank you so much for listening, and I'd like to say that I do QHHT sessions here in Sydney face-to-face, but I do psychotherapy and astrology online through Skype. This is possible. I choose to not do QHHT, however, by Skype because I don't believe it gives a safe enough space. The rapport and the trust between practitioner and client is of utmost importance. So thank you very much for listening. Thank you. You're feeling alone? Yes, I'm alone. you feeling?
I think there's some like people taking care of me.
So just moving now to the last few seconds. And then let me know when you've left the body. Okay.
Not floating.
And if you look down, can you see your body?
Mm-hmm.
What does your body look like when you look down on it?
Very long and very skinny.
And can you see other people around you as you look down?
Just two people with me and one person comes and goes.
Are they women or men?
Women and they're arranging it. But it's almost humorous to me now.
Why is that? Why does it seem almost humorous?
Because they're fussing over that body.
What do you think they're doing with the dead body?
Oh, they're preparing it, but it's all unnecessary because I'm not there anymore.
In what way are they preparing it? What do they plan to do with it?
They start washing it.
Yes.
And put into this, like they're straightening everything, and I think they have lots of funny beliefs and fears.
What is the ritual? What do you think they're going to do with the body now? What is the custom?
It's not quite embalming, but it's like the body will dry up, I think.
Okay.
It's interesting. But it seems like a long process, like the death is taken very seriously.
Okay.
That's funny.
But when you were in the body, did you believe in all of that?
Yeah.
As well?
Yeah. That's the joke.
Yes.
It's like when you go, everything I believed in is wrong.
Yes.